Oh yes, is there any better way to start the video than to look at this succulent lamb roasting? Oh, you just gotta love it. That's a whole lamb getting roasted up, and then it'll be put over rice to make kapsa. It's just delicious. It's as good as it looks. All right, welcome back. So today we are going to talk about a question that I get asked a few times about folks when they first arrive in the Middle East. They ask questions like, when I get there, what can I expect? So what I wanted to do is take you through, without any rumors or anything that you might hear on the internet or anything like that. I'll take you through exactly what you can expect when you're going in country. All right. So we'll go through step by step with this. Arriving in country and what you will deal with. After years of military contracting overseas, and I'm getting ready to retire, I thought I would pass on the information that I learned over years of working abroad to inspire others to reach out, check out the world, see the jobs that are overseas, and learn something about yourself. All right. So again, welcome back to the channel, and we are in Saudi right now, and we're going to talk about something that I get asked about a few times now, and that is what to expect when you first arrive in the Middle East. So we'll take you step by step through it. In a previous video, I discussed the CRC training that you'll go through. That's your contractor training that you will do at Fort Bliss, Texas, on your way in country towards the Middle East. Okay. Now, there is going to be a specialized plane. You can refer back to that video for the whole CRC information. After you get on the chartered flight, what you can expect is that you will be flying and making several stops along the way. You'll make a few stops at different locations. It'll probably just be administrative, refueling. Maybe they'll take some cargo on or something, because you're taking a military flight and the flight is ending up in the Middle East. So, you are as much a government item as everything else. Okay, so you may stop somewhere and take cargo on. You may stop at some location just as a rest spot while they're refueling. For myself, I stopped at, on the way through, I stopped in a place in the Carolinas. That was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. We didn't get a chance to leave the airport, but they had a wonderful group there that met us and kind of just cheering us on. We were with some soldiers as well. It was contractors and soldiers going together on this contracted flight. It was just really nice. They had a nice little gathering for us. I videotaped the whole thing. I'll have to see if I can find it, maybe do a video out of it, but it was a very nice gathering. And then we moved on and we stopped in Germany, which was nice. We didn't get a chance to leave the airport, but where we stopped, they actually had a nice little area we set up where you could eat some German food, and you could even buy a German beer, and you could pick up a few trinkets. And for me, I'm a patch guy. I like to buy patches wherever I go. So I picked up a bunch of patches along the way. So then you go to Kuwait. When you arrive at Kuwait airport, you as a group will go together, and they will have a specialized area where you will be able to wait. They'll have coffee there, other drinks, some snacks for you. You're going to be there in a holding pattern until they have a specialized room set up in the Kuwait airport for you to do your customs work. So you don't have to stand there in line with everybody else going through customs. All right? They set up a special room for you. And then your group that you're with, which could be 100 people or whatever, you filter your way up as a line, and you go through this customs area. They're going to look at your passport. They're going to stamp it. By that time, you already have a specialized visa to go to where you're supposed to be. Because I was ending up in Afghanistan, there was a specialized visa there. They do all the checks on that. They understand that you're part of this group, so it's really more of just a process. They're not going to drill you on questions like if you were a civilian trying to go to Kuwait. It's not like that. They know who you are and they know where you're going. So they go through this process. They do all of your prints and photographs and everything for entering Kuwait, and also the fact that you're entering the Middle East region. All right. And you will go through a basic process of just getting a couple of documents put together. It's very quick. It's easy. The only thing you have to deal with is standing in line for a while. You're going to be standing in line, as the military says, hurry up and wait, okay? You'll be standing in this line, and then you go to that line. You stand in that line, then you're supposed to go to the next line. You stand in that line, okay? After you're done with all these lines and you've got all this paperwork done to enter Kuwait, you'll go back down to that holding area again, and you will wait there until you will be bused to Camp Afghanistan. Camp Afghanistan is sort of a holding location for you. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people may just turn right around and fly out to their next destination. But if they don't have a plane that's going to be there in the next 8 hours or something, you're going to Camp Afghanistan. You get bused there. And when you get to Camp Afghanistan, you will go through, first of all, the drive there is not too long. It's a little ways. It's more harrowing than anything else. Driving in Kuwait is insanity. When you go through Camp Afghanistan, you will meet with a company liaison in country. They kind of just check you in, make sure everything's good, make sure you got everything you need. You'll get issued blankets. You'll get issued a bunk in a bunk room, so you have a place to sleep. There'll be bathrooms and showers. There's a dining facility, so you'll be able to go eat. And that's really about it. Camp Afghanistan also had a couple of fast food locations that you could go eat. But again, I was jet lagged and also excited to kind of continue on to Afghanistan. So for me, I would just go to the dining facility and just eat some of whatever they had for that day. And they had good Wi-Fi in the dining facility, so I was able to connect to that Wi-Fi and communicate with my family. And you would wait at Camp Afghanistan until there's going to be a flight going to your country, and then your group is going to meet, turn back in all your sheets that you had, have all your stuff together. By the way, they have lockers, and as I said in a previous video, bring 2 padlocks, bring keys for those padlocks. Should be one key that works both of them, all right? So just have multiple keys, though. I wear them in a chain around my neck, so I have them on me all the time. You can't lose them because they're around your neck. And that will get you through Camp Afghanistan. You'll check everything back in, your sheets and all, and as a group, you go through a process where you get on a bus, head back to the airport, and you will get on your flight to whatever country you're going to. For myself, flying to Afghanistan, very interesting, took a military aircraft, flew over Iran, very unique situation, and landed in Afghanistan. That's the first part of going into country. All right, that's what you can expect going into the Middle East, is going that process of going through Kuwait step by step. When you get, for myself, using Afghanistan as an example, when you get to Afghanistan, you will meet another company liaison. All right, that company liaison again just kind of checks you in, make sure you got all your paperwork, everything you're supposed to have. You'll go through an in-processing where they're going to go through your bags. That's why in a previous video I said be careful what you bring, what to bring and what not to bring. There are 2 other videos that I did. Watch both of them, so you don't bring contraband into Afghanistan and end your career early. All right. You'll go through this detailed where they're going to go through all your stuff, and then after you go through that, you're pretty much good to go. You are going to find a place. If you need to stay at Bagram for a couple of days, you can. They'll get you a bunk and a bed and a place to eat. But otherwise, they're going to move you along to a helicopter that will take you to your final destination, whatever base you're working at. If you're working at Bagram, you're going to get checked into a space of where you'll be living. I say a space because it could be a small room. It could be a room that has 3 people in it. It's hard to say. The lifestyle of contracting is not glamorous. and that's where you'll be if you're in bedroom. For me, I had to move on to another location. I worked actually at Fenty, which is an airfield, and it was an interesting experience. When I got to Fenty by helicopter, I again met a company liaison that worked there, introduced me to everybody, and showed me where I was going to be living for the next year. And it was a wooden space, not very big, about the size of a queen size bed. Has a small bed in it, a small table, a lamp. There's Wi-Fi and air conditioning. And you can either get bedding checked out, but for me, I just went to the exchange and bought new bedding because I was going to be there for a year, so I bought new bedding. In fact, I bought 2 sets of new bedding for that bed, that small bed, which they had there. That way, if I send one to the laundry, I have a fresh set on there, and I'm not waiting around with no sheets. When laundry is done, it's done. I already got clean sheets on my bed. And those 2 sets got me through just fine the whole year. And that was the step-by-step process of going from CRC training, which I did a separate video on, step-by-step making your way in country, what you can expect, all the way to your base, to your bed. All right. And for myself, after that, I traveled a lot because I repaired network gear, but that was always my home base. Even though I would fly somewhere, I'd have my backpack set for like 2 or 3 days to repair something. But when I got back, that was my home base, was that small wooden room about the size of a queen size bed. All right. And that's what you can expect. All right. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope it dispels any rumors that you may have heard about getting in country and what you'll deal with. That's what you're going to deal with. And if there's something else you want me to go over, feel free to leave it in the comment section. And other than that, have yourself a nice day.